And yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Think different. Start a hobby. Instant photos. Tell a story. Capture a moment. Start a project. It didn't work? Make it a passion. You see the shot? You pulled it off. Start, a middle, and an end. Or is there? Photographer, videographer, content creator. Which are you? And this is a question that I ask myself fairly often at the moment, and
probably more of a content creator these days. Camera gear I absolutely love. For example, we did actually just recently shoot a 200-500 video, which is this awesome, really heavy lens that I got to try out with Sam from Sigma recently. And it was an absolute pleasure to use, and I think camera gear can really make you feel certain ways. They bring their own character out in it.
And by the looks of it, you guys enjoyed it too.
And that's definitely what I felt with the Canon 50mm 095, and it's a series that we want to do more with in the future, the legendary lenses, and I might actually be doing a legendary camera, which is the Sony VX1000, which has its own kind of epicness about it, really. What we're trying to achieve with this channel is a kind of like study into creativity. I mean, you get the ability to look at new camera gear, and that's an important part to this channel, of course, because, you know, at the end of the day, we're a camera shop. But being able to talk to creatives in the podcast setup allows us to talk to like-minded individuals. Yes, some of them have a big audience, some of them don't.
But not just creatives, we talk to brands as well about the latest and greatest in their technology. And I've learned a lot through doing all of this.
But talk about real-world experience, kind of
like this excerpt now will be taken out and put in a video 3 years from now, and it will be like,
this is where we were.
How they enjoyed their creative environment in general, and it's brought up a lot of really interesting subjects. To name a few, Dan Enmarsh actually decided to accept a challenge video.
What would I say to someone if, you know, who wants to start content creation now? And I would say, do it. It's the first one. That's got you. Just go and do it. If you're thinking about it, it's the same with YouTube. There's people who say they're going to do YouTube, and then there's people who just go and do it.
Yeah.
Where we give him a film camera and he produces some photos on a medium that he hadn't actually done before. Or Jess Rose, where we go into a little bit more on the philosophical elements of doing content creation or photography or video, and we talk about light and everything like that, and
the light that the silver crystals inside of the film take is actually the light from that time, so you are stealing that moment in time, and that's what I find completely
describes it as the delayed rays of a star, doesn't she? Which I love that quote.
Overall, the podcast has brought up some really fascinating conversations. Things are changing a lot here at the Camera Centre warehouse where we film the majority of the content.
And nothing really emphasises that more than this room. It started very plain and now it's become a character in and of itself.
For example, we're starting to put up more photos on the wall, and it would be really great to have you guys a part of it as well. If you want photos to be exhibited here, and perhaps we look at some sort of charity auction at the end of the year. But it's another way for us to really express the art form. Yes, a lot of these are my photos here at the moment, but we want to fill it out with the creatives that we have here on the show, as well as build a community through you guys that are watching. Not only things are changing at the warehouse, but I'm changing as this content adapts and evolves into something else. And that comes down to even the gear that I use. I had a cinema camera a couple of days ago, but now I've gone down to the FX3, which I guess is a cinema camera. But I'm going to make a video on that a little bit later on, because
I will admit Canon have tried to tempt me with the R5C also, and video coming soon.
Before I did this content, I did more client work, but now I am producing videos for you guys, and I need something to flow with that a lot better. And with this, I think having the ability to learn a little bit about how to do photography, video, and everything like that has really given me an insight as to who I am as a creative. So, am I a videographer? Am I a photographer now? Or am I a content creator? It's a really interesting subject. And it's interesting from multiple different avenues, because as with Tyler switching from Nikon to Sony, like, everyone has a journey that they go on when it comes to being a creative, doing a hobby, and all of that. They start off somewhere and then they end up somewhere else. I mean, I originally wanted to be a graphic designer and then an architect, and now I create videos on YouTube for a living. That's crazy. So everyone starts somewhere, and more often than not, we end up doing something else entirely. But photography has always been a passion of mine, and it's been fascinating talking to a lot of the photographers that I've been in, but also learning as well, because I think learning is one of the biggest experiences you can get out of this, which is why we've been doing the video 101s, which allow you to learn the basics to maybe some more of the complex things afterwards. The other thing that I'd like to do, and please let me know if you're interested in this, is something talking about this. I'm a big fan of changing my gear and adapting it to different situations. And today I created this poll to be able to allow me to move around the room a little bit easier, make the video just a bit more engaging, having different angles and different ways of telling you a story or telling you something that I'm just thinking about. And this is what it is. It's literally an amalgamation of gear. So we've got a magic arm from Vanguard. We've got a Vanguard tripod, which is the fancy tripod that I do the rotating shots every now and then. Three-legged thing gave us a monopod, which is a lance, which allows us to get these standing up shots, which I think look quite cool. So if you'd like to see some more gear hack kind of videos, then again, let me know down below, because I think it's quite interesting using gear in ways that you would never have thought of before, and maybe a little bit different to what you've already seen, because I understand that this area of YouTube is very saturated and I want to do something a little bit different. But the interesting thing about this in general and creativity is that it is a little bit cyclical in nature, where even my career path from being in a freelance videographer, doing weddings, and then coming back to camera center where I used to be a salesman, everything seems to have a cyclical nature about it. And that comes to content creation, things that are boring and now interesting again. And there are a few interesting kind of crossovers here, and especially when it comes to the world of film cameras. This right here is a Pepsi can film camera, and it takes 35mm film. And film photography in general has become more and more popular, and I think it's actually going to be interesting seeing some more film orientated videos on this channel. And as we approach nearer the end of the year, I can't wait to see what we produce going into next year. So this is a bit more of a retrospective, I guess, as to what we're trying to achieve here on the channel. But like I said at the start, there's a beginning, there's a middle, and then there's an end. And the end is not always there. Creativity, being a photographer, videographer, or content creator is a fluid concept these days. Before, when we considered how we did video, we used photo to advertise it for posters and Instagram and all of that. These days it's video emphasizing photo, and video has become a big part of our everyday life. Photographers these days need to be able to understand video. Videographers need to be able to understand photo, but it's a ever-changing and ever kind of evolving industry right now, and art form also. So stay tuned for some really awesome stuff. I'm going to talk to loads of creatives. We're going to create some awesome content and bring you guys some really cool videos. Anyway, have a good day.